Hey everybody, how are you? I got a lot of things to talk about. I haven't been around for a minute. Um, Pardon my office, it still is not set up. In the background, you listen to James Brown, and he's saying, "Get up, get into it, and get involved." We'll talk about that in just a second. So, anyway, tomorrow is the 5th, November 5th, and everyone should have voted already, or they will be voting tomorrow. But before I talk about the voting, let me just say this. I love Halloween. Not because I think it's a wonderful holiday or anything like that. It's just a fun time to just forget about stuff, get dressed up, and be silly. For years, I didn't do it. The last time I went down to the Halloween parade in New York was probably in like 2010 or 2011. But I called a friend and I said, "Do you think it's too immature of me to want to go to the parade?" And she said, "What time do you want to be there?" So that was my girl. And I was like, "Let's go." And we went. We had a great time. It was freezing. There were girls out with these French maid outfits on and all kinds of other like naked, half naked things. And of course, we were dressed. I was in a cat suit, so I was covered from head to toe, which I was going to be this year with my grandchild. We were going to go as cats because this year was the year of the cat. And because I love cats, I thought it would be a perfect time. But due to the atmosphere that we're in right now with so many people in New York City, um, strangers, many, many strangers as it is. They're strange people, but now we had like 9,000 people bust here like every day. So you don't know what you're dealing with. You see television cameras with the people beating up on the cops. And you don't know what you're dealing with. There's a lot of people who hate Americans that can get over the border or get into America because America's so welcoming, and New York, particularly, such a sanctuary city that anyone can come over and they're not being checked. But anyway, I will get to that later on because everybody knows that they're not being checked. But a friend of mine told me that during COVID, he had to he and his wife traveled, I believe it was to Europe, and they had to take a COVID test before they could come back into America. So there you have it. Anyway, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, I hope everybody went out to vote because I voted early this year. I voted early because I didn't want to stand in the line, and thank God I didn't have to. Okay. Once again, I want to say please pardon my appearance in my office here. So, but I do want to get some things off my chest and to talk about some things. Now, this is just my own personal opinion, and people can take it or leave it. I really don't care. Um, some of you might know that I have run for office in this city, in the city of Yonkers, probably about 3 or 4 times. I ran for city council twice. I ran for city council president one time. I missed it by 130 votes. And most of the people that were against me, and I've been a registered Democrat for many, many years. And I ran as a Democrat. And I'm saying this for a reason because the Democratic Party did not support me. In fact, before I even thought about running, the Democratic Party told me they would never support me because at least one of the members of the ward leaders, let's say, of the Democratic Party said they've been talking, and I guess they were never going to support me because they said that they couldn't control me. They couldn't tell me what to do. And I felt that living in a democracy or in a city like New York or in a state like New York, that uh, you could have your own mind. But evidently, that's not the case. And they felt like they couldn't control me. They couldn't tell me what to do, when to do it, what to say, how to say it. And so, therefore, I guess they thought I was a wild card. And I basically just told them, well, listen, if you think that I went to school to get an education and my God allowed me to experience some of the things in my life that some of them weren't good, and some of them were so good and very good, and introduced me to different people and put me in different places so that I not only have life experience, work experience, and education, but I'm running for public service and my cat just burst open the door, my kitten. Um, but that I did this because I felt like I had something to give. And not only that, but because I personally care about what happens to people in my community, what happens to people in this society, and what happens to people in our country, which also affects the world that we live in. So silly me for trying to run for a public office. So I say that to say we do have a lot of leaders that may not be mature enough, or most of it is just that they're disconnected. So most people become at the age of 20 something years old, they may become just career politicians. That's all they've ever done. So if you took them out of a political arena and put them someplace else, they may not be able to survive. It may be like a fish out of water. So with that being said, we don't have the best leaders in some instances. Some, yes, some not. But when you're talking about people who are running to so-called have your best interests at heart because they are for the people, they know the people, they're speaking for the people, they're totally disconnected. Because if you've always had a job since you graduated high school or you graduated college, and you did what they told you to do, um, yeah, you're probably not going to know much of anything else but what you're doing. And it's a dirty game because most people are not nice. Hold on 1 second. Tippy, you're either going to stay out or you're going to stay in. Now go on. Behave yourself. Um, I think personally, gotta get some privacy around here, that a lot of the people are totally disconnected. And once they get a feel of that power, they want more and more and more. Sometimes you have people telling you, oh, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to give it all up. But they can't give it all up. Who's going to pay any attention to them? Most people can, people are running for office that don't have a clue. They're completely clueless. They sound great, you know, as James Brown would say, talking loud and saying nothing. Okay? Talking loud and saying nothing. So I say, for those people who are talking loud, or as they say, some politicians are doing word salads, that's not what we need. Okay? So, about the people who are running. Now, we are in the midst of a presidential election. Tomorrow's the last day. So get out and vote. And don't sit there talking about, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Well, if you don't know who you're going to vote for by now, then just go in and say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay. Um, it's a big position, and you want someone who is a real leader, who have some substance and knows a little bit of something about people. But I get it. People want to be the first to be something. Personally, I don't vote on race. I don't vote by gender. I don't vote like that. I vote for, and most people should be voting for people who have, um, whose, candidate has the best um, issues that will best benefit themselves. Like, okay, so one of the candidates is running on abortion. Well, that's okay. That's wonderful. That's fine. But when you look at all the other stuff that's going on, when you look at the fact that we have people sleeping in the street, we have homelessness, we have people, the prices of food, you can't even go to the store without spending at least $100. In fact, I went to the store today, and whatever I bought, and it wasn't even food. I bought one thing that was food. The rest, you need batteries, you need all kinds of other just paper towels and toiletries and things like that. It's almost impossible. And I'm a member of Costco, so I go there so I don't have to go there every week. So, with that being said, there are so many other things, and I'm not saying that abortion is not important in this rhetoric about the government should stay out of women's lives and they shouldn't tell a woman what to do with their body. But why does the government insist upon telling people that they have to get the shot, the jab, of the needle, the immunization during COVID? COVID-19, people were losing their jobs because they didn't want to take the shot. They didn't want to put this unknown substance into their bodies because they didn't know what it was. It wasn't like one size fits all. And you all know that when they say one size fits all, it's not true. Because if you buy a pair of pantyhose, and as a woman, I'm just going to go by something that I know. You buy a pair of pantyhose and it says one size fits all. If I'm a size 8 and someone else is a size triple X and someone else is a 00, those tights are going to look much different on each and every person, depending on the size. That's all I'm saying, okay? So some it's going to be so tight that they're not going to be able to breathe and it's going to stop circulation, while some it's going to fall off of them, and others it might just fit just fine. But we don't know. So you're taking a chance. It's like Russian roulette. And so I say that because the government is picking and choosing what they want to tell us what to do with our bodies. So, and one of the candidates, Kamala, would say they're about unifying. I don't know about this unifying thing. You know, uh, it's going to take more than the politicians to unify a country or a community or a society or this world, because we have men that just want to fight and we have women that want to fight too. The problem is when you talk about unifying people, a country, a community, a society, or what have you, people have their own ideas and people are selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed in most instances. And unfortunately, many leaders just happen to have a little bit of narcissism in them. They're also a little immature, and that's everybody. Touchy, nobody wants to hear anything bad about themselves. But listen, they always say if you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. You know that politics is dirty. It doesn't have to be, because you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to hear this crap or not. But people are scared. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? The people aren't going to do anything for you anyway. We have people who have known each other for all their lives. Okay, all their lives they've known someone. They have family members that have been there for them. And all of a sudden now, when it comes to politics, when it comes to COVID, mask, wear the mask, don't wear the mask, get the shot, don't get the shot, black, white, Republican, Democrat, there's always been division. Unfortunately, many people cannot compartmentalize those differences or agree to disagree. So instead, what they do is they decide, I'm not going to speak to you because you voted for this one, or I'm not going to speak to you because you didn't get the shot, or I'm not going to speak to you because you're not wearing a mask, or I'm not going to speak to you because. There's always a reason. So when you talk about unifying, this country hasn't been unified. And I want to say to the person, the candidate who said that, have you ever heard of the Civil War? I mean, have you ever heard of the fact that the South and the North in the same country was fighting each other because some wanted to keep black people enslaved? 400 years wasn't enough. They needed to continue, get free labor, free babysitting, free lawn, manicuring, you know, free babysitting. Yeah, people are a little ticked off because when we bring somebody over here from another country and then all of a sudden now they don't want to be beaten, they don't want to be hung, they don't want to have their children sold on auction blocks. How dare them? And now there are other people who are saying, gee, our ancestors really had it easy because they didn't have to do anything. And now we got these lazy, shiftless Negroes who just don't want to do anything. They're lazy and shiftless. So therefore, we're going to bring over people from another country that will work. So let's talk about that for a second. I had written down a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Um, you know, bringing other people over because everybody says everybody's an immigrant in America. Are they? Think about that for a second. Whenever I hear somebody say, oh, everybody's an immigrant in America, I beg to differ. I'm not an immigrant. I and many other native black Americans are not immigrants. We didn't kill ourselves trying to come over to America. We got killed when we got to America, but we didn't ask to come to America. And then people go back and say, well, your own people sold you. And so your point is, if they did, then why did other people be so brutal? Did you have to be brutal? Did you have to put people in the bottom of the slave ship? Did you have to? Was that the only way to do it? You know, I don't even want to go back there. But when you think about this presidential election and you think about how people can't afford to eat, people homeless on the street, I'm sorry, but you do have to say America first. You do have to say America first. Because if you try to help somebody, you move them into your house, you're so loving, you're so kind, and you move them into your house and you say, well, I'm going to let you come and stay with me. You'll get yourself together. You'll have a better life. And then one day you come home, and because the culture is different, one day you come home, they tell you you're sharing everything with them. You got a loaf of bread, one jar of peanut butter, and one jar of jelly. And you're sharing this with the person, and you guys are talking. Then a couple of weeks later, they're bringing over their whole family. And they've already moved into your house. You come home one day, they've already moved into your house, changed your the colors of the apartment, the furniture all around. And now you still only got that one loaf of bread and that one jar of peanut butter and jelly. And so now not only do you have to take from yourself and perhaps your family, but you got to share it now. And so now everybody has so little, but you're thinking you were trying to do a favor. And it's okay for people to come over, but you have to do it with some decency and order. And it has to be done correctly. You don't know who's coming in. You don't know if they've had shots. You don't know. A lot of the people are not educated. It's not like you're getting the cream of the la creme when they come over here. Anybody fleeing like that is either running from something and then a lot of times when people come over, they don't assimilate anymore. America used to be wonderful where there was one language. Everybody who came over to America wanted to learn English. Wanted to learn English. Now people come to the country, they keep their own culture, they deal with their own people. Excuse me. They used to say New York was a melting pot. I don't know what they might be melting in their own communities and neighborhoods, but they're not necessarily trying to speak English. And a lot of times, people, I hate to say, from South America, and you can say, that's a racist thing to say. Well, first of all, figure out what the definition of a racist is, what a bigot is, what discrimination is, what bias is, and then talk to me. Other than that, black people, yeah, I know you heard it before. Black people can't be racist. We can have thoughts that maybe we think our race is the best, or what have you, but that's not even the case. If you just look at the systemic racism that goes on. So you bring other people over, and yeah, some leaders might be upset because they don't have free labor and free babysitters and free everything, and they can't kill people and hang them like they used to. So they figure they'll do some buck breaking another way. Buck breaking, as you know, is when they take the strongest slave who stands up to the massa and humiliate him, beat him in front of all the others to set an example. For example, let's see, in today's world, that might be someone like Martin Luther King. We're going to assassinate your so-called leaders, and a lot of them were assassinated. We're going to assassinate any white people who go along with you too. Kennedys, you know, those kinds of things. So it's unfortunate that we have all this hate and all this animosity because people need to feel good about themselves. Well, everybody needs to feel good about themselves. So with this election, you vote for who you want to. I don't tell anybody who to vote for. But when it comes to people in America, we need to feed America. The other thing is, we need to have one language. I just really believe we need to have one language. People need to go back to assimilating. And remember, Black people are not lazy. And even our children, I have even asked children in the neighborhood where I've lived. One summer, some years ago, I asked the kids, I said, would you guys work at like a McDonald's or a Burger King or a White Castles if like if you could get a job there? And they looked at me and they said, Miss Ivy, who wouldn't want to work at a place where number one, it's food that we like to eat. Number two, we're getting paid to work there. Okay. So why wouldn't we want to work there? The reason why they said they couldn't work there is because it was required of them to speak not the native language where maybe their ancestors' language was taken away, but to speak, anyone who's coming over here, speak their language. They have to speak Spanish. They have to be fluent in Spanish. Why are you forcing Americans to speak Spanish? Shouldn't it be the opposite? Asian people don't ask us to speak Mandarin, which is the biggest language that's spoken, not Spanish. Um, you know, Arabic people don't ask us to speak. No other um, culture or race of people ever ask us to speak their language. It's nice if you know some of it, but they don't demand that you speak it. And the other thing is a lot of times some of the people, when they hear or they assume that you're from, a Spanish-speaking country, will start speaking Spanish, even if they speak fluent English. And that right there in itself is divisive. So why don't you work on that, leaders? Work on having a language, one language, English. Work on making sure that the American people are taken care of first, that we bring the prices down so people can buy food and gas and have jobs and not have to be forced to be second class citizens because they don't speak English. The schools, public schools, are not the best. Okay, I feel bad for the teachers, but they're not the best. They took out art and sports and music, sports, and art. So our kids used to do things like me. I played on every sport team that there was. I was in theater. I sang. There was always something to do. Now the kids are out there, and weed is now out there. So you're on the street. You don't know who's behind a car. And speaking of not knowing who's behind the car, a lot of people who come over here want to have the freedom to be able to drive. And there's always somebody who's already here in their country that's going to help them to get a car, whether the car is legally registered or inspected, and whether or not they have a license. Now, if you can't speak the language, I know they have interpreters and everything, but there's who's going to interpret the signs for you. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't. There's so much that's screwed up and messed up that I don't even know. I'm trying to remember what else I wanted to talk about. I talked about, okay, the people. Also, remember, one of the presidents of the United States, Woodrow Wilson, uh, thought that The Birth of a Nation, that movie, was the best. So while everybody's sitting up here uh, talking about the president of the United States, also remember Congress, because barely anything can get passed that the president wants unless Congress approves it. So for those of you who feel like you should only come out and vote in a presidential election, please get with the program. Do some reading, something, anything. But remember, your Congress people, your assembly, your senators, you got to be voting for those people too. All right? You got to vote for those. And by the way, can somebody just tell us, if you can send billions of dollars to Ukraine, look at all these people who just suffered in America from these tornadoes and hurricanes. We need that money over here. not only that, but we need to give Black people their just due, which is reparation. So if anybody is talking about reparation, okay, because I am sick and tired of the Black people being treated like fools, because we do know what's going on. We see what's going on. We know that you're not hiring us because we don't speak a language. And I live in a city where they just uh, blacklisted me simply because they couldn't control me. And it was the Black Democrats. I've been loyal to the Democratic Party for a very, very, very long time. I put my life on the line for these people, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. They don't appreciate, they want you dead. So I worked for the first uh, LGBTQ city councilman who listened to somebody else. We were friends for years. And all of a sudden, because I was running and another Black woman was running for his seat, he felt like we were friends. I didn't even know the woman really. And because we were Black, oh, you're supporting her. Because I said hello, because I was cordial to her. No, they don't want you talking. Politics suck because you want to know why? They got a lot of sick people in there. There's a lot of nuts. Don't think for one moment. Let me tell you something. Trump has his ways. Kamala has her ways. We don't even know about this woman. I mean, they say she's Black. Listen, some of the stuff that's going on with all these Black entertainers coming out to a Black entertainer can't tell me what to do or who I want to vote for. They're disconnected. They're in the studio half the time or practicing or whatever the case might be. They don't know what it's like to go without food, to go hungry. Maybe some of them do, but now they're past that stage. Are they reaching back to give a hand down to whoever they left behind? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But let me just say this, for the majority of people, so-called middle class, show me what a middle class is. You either got something or you don't have anything. Very few are in the middle. Even when you think that you have something, they say you're just one couple paychecks from being without anything. Because if that money is not being replenished after you lose a job, and losing a job is a big to do. It's a big to do. You lose everything. You lose the roof over your head. You lose your car that you can't even use to go back and forth. It's a lot of things. It's a domino effect. So when someone fires you for petty nonsense or just because they're a bully and they can, they're basically rendering you dead because they don't care whether you live or die. So for me, when it comes to running for office and putting myself out there, knocking on strange doors and, being by myself or either with someone else, it's not an easy thing to do. But I realize something from being behind the scene that you're not ever elected. You are selected. I'm not a selected one. Most of the selected ones are not very strong. They appear strong on the outside. I don't even know how to uh, equate it to maybe um, an M&M or something without the peanut, but the milk chocolate ones where the shell is it's hard on the outside, but on the inside you're mush. And many of them will say, "No, I can't be bought. No, I can't be so. No, I'm standing up." And don't get it twisted. When they do something for one person, doesn't necessarily it's for an entire community because it isn't. Somebody might do me a favor. I thank you for that. But what is that really doing for a person? And then accepting awards. All the politicians like to accept awards. Oh, I'm being patted on the back. Oh, I'm doing such a good job. No, you don't get any kind of recognition unless you go above and beyond the call of duty. When people select you or elect you, you have a job to do. And you're getting paid to do whatever it is that you're doing. You get a street paved, your people, your community, your district, whatever, asks you to do something, you're supposed to do that. That's why they elected you. You don't get anything special. But everybody wants to be special, don't they? That's because most of the people that are running for these positions, whether that's president, Congress, or whatever, yeah, most of them are power hungry. Yeah, most of them are power driven. And yeah, a lot of them are laughing all the way to the bank. Because when you think about the fact that 2020, 2021, there was barely anything going on here, but the politicians gave themselves raises. Hmm, ain't that Isn't that special? They gave themselves raises instead of saying we're not doing anything, so why should we make the people pay for our raises? They're not going to do it, but that's not what they want because they are in every way, shape, form, or fashion making money off of this, making money off of you. And they're laughing all the way to the bank saying, what a bunch of knuckleheads. You guys are so easily persuaded. They brought down chicken and everything else to make you guys to make black people get the COVID shot. They came down to the churches for the COVID shot. They care so much about black Americans. No, no, because you don't come down for job training. You don't come down to tell anybody what's available, how to train people on budgets or anything like that. It's just all about take the jab. Because, like the professor said in Texas, got to get rid of 90% of the human beings on this planet in order for the earth to replenish itself. So while Joe Biden is saying, oh, we don't have enough people, we're not having enough babies, we're not having enough. Are you nuts? We've been having enough babies since the 70s. We had an overpopulation then. You don't see all these people out here? You don't need to bring over, you're saying you want to bring over slaves? Oh my God. People, please use your common sense. And I know common sense ain't so common, okay? And being a visionary, being a forward thinker, don't be fooled by this nonsense. These celebrities that came in and coming in, all this stuff, Cardi B. I think Cardi B is funny, but you know what? I could never let any of my children listen to any of her songs. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Why do we have to be always, shucking and jiving and, bringing people, throwing watermelon? Everybody made fun of Trump because he threw some paper towels. Oh my God, look at what you're throwing now. Anyway, I don't know. Do I have anything else I want to talk about here? Because I think I've said enough other than get out and get your tails out there and vote. Um, yeah, I was saying about Woodrow Wilson, he thought that the birth of a nation was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm just paraphrasing. And that's because, what the birth of a nation, what that movie was. Okay. And anytime you have someone who's president or anything else who believes that, um, you know, people, because of the color of their skin, and I feel bad, poor God, probably thought that he was doing something really nice, making everybody a little bit different, like a coloring book. I always tell my kids, I said, if I gave all of you the same picture to color, and I gave you a huge box of crayons, a 64, whatever it comes in now, and I asked you to color the same picture, I would get a variety of different um, paintings and coloring because you know what we experience as children growing up determines how we feel as we grow up. And you could say, oh no, I don't feel that way, but the truth is that we will probably never have a true black American president. Kamala is mixed. uh, Barack Obama was mixed, but a true native black American, because America, white America, most of them are doing everything they can to water down the black. You can't be on TV without seeing a black man with a white woman or vice versa. You just can't see it in mixed children because they don't want to hear what they did. As my friend would say, I had a friend who said, because black Americans are America's shame and they know what they did, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about it, but they allow the Jewish people to never forget. So it's like a double standard. Everything with black people, our hair, the way we talk, you know. When I was growing up, having a big booty and having long fingernails and kinky curly hair uh, was, you know, made fun of. Now, and big lips. Now everybody's paying goo gobs of money, and I'm sure the doctors are loving every minute of it. They want big fluffy lips, so much so that they start to look like platypuses and ducks. They want to have big behinds, big stink funky behinds that look absolutely horrible. Does anybody understand that what a butt is used for? It's used to sit on and to go to the bathroom on the toilet. And when you put on something, women, to like just see your nice curves, but it's still gonna pass gas and do everything else that every other behind does, whether it's big or whether it's small. And because the guy said, I like big butts and I cannot lie, some 20 years ago, you didn't have to go overboard with this. Women are dying to go and get injections and to get cement and silicone and whatever else they want to put in their butts. I don't know, stuffing, cotton, I don't know. It's ridiculous. And lip injections, crazy, trying to get out and get what is it, skin cancer in the sun, braiding your hair up, getting your dreadlocks. Give me a break. You want to be, everybody want to be black, but don't nobody really want to be black. But I promise you, like Cat Williams said, if you guys, if the government gives black people our reparations, it's going to help. It's going to help, stimulate the economy like you wouldn't believe. Trust me and believe. Because the people they have no idea how to use money. So when you don't know anything about budget and saving money and investing, you're going to run out and buy cars. Look at what happened with the stimulus. I had more Mercedes in a place than you would ever think of. It was like a car dealership. It's going to stimulate the economy. And like Cat Williams said, the N word means so much to people. I don't know why that word. We got other derogatory terms that we call other races, but it's that blackness again. Zoom in on that blackness. They want to say the N word so badly. Okay. Do the reparations, like Cat Williams said, and you can call us the N word. You can use that N word all you want to. He said, in fact, you can open up your door and say, hey, N word, did you get your money? Yes, I did. Okay? Yes, I did. So with that being said, get out and vote, please, everybody, and just understand that it might make a difference in your life who becomes president of the United States. If you are a person who just feels like, abortion is your number one issue, then you're going to have to vote for that candidate. If you feel like you want to go on the fact that, women are being taken advantage of and all this crazy nonsense, then fine. Because honestly, it's not just Donald Trump. Every rich white man and black, not every, but many of them, have abused women. You wouldn't have those Steins in jail right now and those women who came out and all this other stuff to say they were abused. Look at what's happening to Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever. All of this stuff because they wanted to be around that lifestyle. If you have no integrity and you're gonna give up your body and pop your thighs open just because you want to get ahead, don't be complaining now. And I'm a woman. Okay, I could think for a second. Did nobody ever approach me because they don't think I'm good looking enough? I'm not sexy enough? No, because I'm not going to sell myself like that. So be careful. People want to be around superstars. People are, starstruck. And politicians are not stars. So don't get it twisted. They think that they're celebrities. You make them out to be celebrities. Instead of people coming in saying, oh, there's the senator. Oh, there's the president. Oh, there's the assembly. Oh, there's the city council person. Those people should be coming to you saying, my God, Mr. Smith. My God, Miss Jones. My God, Mr. Fingelheimer. My goodness, Miss Walalewski. How are you? It is a pleasure to meet you. So good to see you again. Whatever. Because you got two kind of people. You got those who come into the room and they say, hello, everybody. I'm here. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. And you also have the people that come into the room and say, there you are. I was wondering how you were doing. So good to see you. So we know which one most of the politicians are. They're always looking, and some of them don't have a clue of any kind of creativity to do something to make this world better. And People, you guys choose them because somebody told you that you should vote for them and they're bringing out certain points. Okay, one last thing. Donald Trump says he's going to protect women whether they want him to or not. And they found something derogatory about that. Well, yeah. If somebody says, I want to protect you from, the violence of other people coming over here and hurting you, what's wrong with that? I don't get it. And this unity thing with Kamala is just not going to happen. And there's other issues that we need to talk about. Okay, that things that she just doesn't answer the questions to. And I'm just wondering what the plan is. We need transparency and everything. And the only reason why people like Trump is because he ain't got nothing to hide. He's not going to hide anything. He's like, he's just going to say what he feels and feel what he says, not always have to go with a teleprompter. Either you got something in your heart about why you're running or you don't. Either you know what the issues are or you don't. And if you don't know what the issues are, say, well, I'm not really sure about that, but I am going to find out and I will get back to you on it. But don't fake the funk and think that people don't know. And when you start in a sentence, when somebody asks you a question, you start the sentence, so blah, 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 blah. And it's like, are you going to answer the question? That ain't even what that. Come on now. Just answer a question. Either you know or you don't know. Either you're going to find out about it or you're not sure. Okay? And if you ain't sure, surround yourself with people who are. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Anyway, I love you guys. And I really hope that you go out and vote. And I can't wait till this is over. Okay? Some people, let me just say one thing, lose their minds over Donald Trump. They lose their minds. They can't sleep. They go crazy. But you do know that he's probably not going to be chosen. And I say chosen for a reason. People want what they want. The powers that be are going to do what the powers that be are going to do. And people take things and they twist them around because you always got to make the other person look bad. Can we just talk about what you're going to do? Leave this, the other, listen, when I ran for mayor, I ran, and it was Mike Spano, and I was told that Yonkers would not be able to handle a black mayor, a female black mayor, but they would be willing to accept the Spanish one. Now imagine that. So I said to the person, I said, well, isn't that rich? Okay, we've been here forever, building the place, doing all kinds of things, and the Johnny come latelys get everything. Okay, they get the respect, they get it. So they decided to put a Spanish woman in the middle to break up me, a black female, and the mayor, a male Italian. So a black female and a male white male Italian, they needed to take points away from me, and they did a wonderful job. But it's an ugly thing because you want to know something. What goes around comes around, and every dog have their day. So I just sit back and I just look at all those people who went against me. Some of them are going to jail. Some of them are not. I'm not saying anything, but just sit back and watch what happens to people when they're just not honest with what they're supposed to do. And people, if you don't elect people who have your best interest at heart or who can put two sentences together or answer a question clearly, then you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself. That's just all there is to it. I've been out of the political arena for a few years. I do still help some people, but the truth of the matter is, it's time to like brush your feet off and get out of here. Because honestly, I can do a lot more, but people like for you to have that title. That's the only reason why I run, because a lot of people um, need you to have a title in order for you to them to make think that you are important. But meanwhile, we're all important. And remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And I'm going to sign off now. It's been a long time. I will see you guys later. And thank you so much for tuning in to the channel. Now, hold on now. I got to give y'all something to go back with, okay? You know how I am with my music. I'm trying to do this fast. Hold on one second. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. And I always... Okay, and here's what I want to give you. Okay. Many of you have heard this song before. Hold on. If I knew how to work this thing, it would be great, right? So, okay. Pause. I don't even know what a pause button is, but I want to say um, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Wake up, everybody. That's the one I'm trying to find, but of course I can't find it. So I'm going to just forget about it. Okay, here we go. Wake up, everybody. Don't get me going with this crap. So it's Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. The reason why I'm saying wake up, well, I can't get it. So we're going to forget about it and just go on. But here we go. Let me see. It's too sad, but hold on. I'm so bad. Yeah, it's like I can't find it. I think it's under. I don't know. Anyway, I'll go out with something, and then that's it, guys. And we'll talk. I'll talk to you guys again because right now I can't seem to find anybody. So here we go. Sending it off with Love's theme. Okay. Try to keep some love in your heart and pray for America because everyone is laughing at us. Is this the best we can do, you guys? Holy smokes. Celebrities telling you who, oh, I'm going to vote for them because Cardi B told me to. Okay. Guys, have a good night. I'm going to continue to do more of my pickup shows. And we will talk again soon. Vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote. And vote for those Congress and Assembly people. Some of them ain't worth two dead flies either, but you ain't heard it from me because I ain't want to gossip. Bye now.